Hello everyone, my name is Nirjari. I'm an SDE at Amazon. In this video, I'll be discussing how RAG evolved from naive RAG to advanced RAG, and then we'll take a look at modular RAG. I've already discussed how a naive RAG looks like in one of the previous videos and how to build a typical RAG pipeline from scratch. If you haven't watched that video, please go and watch the video that is linked here. And in this video, we'll take a look at the problems that exist with naive RAG and how advanced RAG and modular RAG are solving those problems. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. So, let's do a quick recap of naive RAG before jumping onto the problems that exist with naive RAG. So, it has three different stages. One is the pre retrieval stage, wherein we collect all the documents, split those documents into separate chunks, and then create embeddings for those chunks and put it in vector databases. During the retrieval part, when the user prompts the LLMs with a query, that query is taken and converted into the embeddings, and those embeddings are then used for searching in the same vector databases where the documents or the chunks are stored in the form of embeddings. And vector databases perform semantic search and returns relevant documents or context. Those relevant documents are then fed to the post retrieval stage, which is the augmentation layer, where it's combined with the original prompt and sent to the LLM so that you can generate a more appropriate or accurate response from the LLM. So let's take a look at what are the problems of naive RAG. So first is poor retrieval quality because we use semantic search and not exact search, exact keyword matching. In vector databases, you might retrieve some documents which are very poorly related to the actual query or the actual thing that you're looking for. So the retrieval quality might not be very good. There's retrieval noise again, because it's semantic search. You might be retrieving some content which is very weakly related to the actual query. So there might be a lot of chunks that are retrieved which has nothing to do with the original query. Then naive RAG has no understanding of query. So naive RAG uses the query that has been prompted to it to search in the vector databases as it is, without doing any transformation, which might lead to not getting very relevant documents, because users might be writing very vague queries like what are the rules for new employees in the company. So these type of queries might not result in very relevant documents when you're looking for what are the leave policies for new employees. Might be a better question, right? So in those kind of cases, you might not retrieve very good documents when or chunks, or when you're looking for. Then there is no re-ranking method. So naive RAG assumes that the top k chunks that have been returned to it have all the relevant documents, and that those top k chunks that are returned to it are the most relevant chunks and needs to be used for responding accurately to the user, but which might not be the case always. And then the last problem is hallucination. Because of all of this, the models might still hallucinate because of poor retrieval quality, because of retrieving some documents which are not relevant to the actual query. The models might still hallucinate. So how does advanced RAG solve these problems is, we'll go through each of these pre-retrieval, retrieval, and post-retrieval stages again and see how these problems were solved in advanced RAG. Right. So in the pre-retrieval part, we have the chunking strategy that we can use for splitting the document. So instead of relying on just one strategy, which naive RAG does, is fixed size chunking, you can choose from different advanced chunking strategies that exist. So there are fixed size chunking strategy. There is sentence based chunking strategy, wherein you can chunk based on sentences, so that the context is not lost. Same with paragraph based chunking strategies, where each paragraph is chunked. Then there is semantic chunking, where you chunk based on similar content and keep the similar content together. And then there is recursive chunking, wherein you chunk the paragraphs, then the sentences, and then the words, which is very efficient. Next is choosing the right embedding model. So there are a lot of embedding models. You can choose the search optimized embedding models like BG large or E5 embedding family, or choose from the MTEB leaderboard. The link is in the description. And again, this is one of the strategies to make your indexing better so that the retrieval can be better. Okay, so now coming to the retrieval part of it, retrieval starts when the user has fired the query, and I have broken it down into two different sections. One is when the query is fired, first you do query transformation and then you start retrieving. So, in query transformation, I have mentioned three different strategies that you can use for transforming your query, but there are a number of other strategies as well. So let's start with query writing. So what is query writing? Query writing is basically when the users give you very vague query and you pass it to the LLMs. LLMs will reformulate that query in a way so that you can improve the retrieval. So, for example, if there's a query like, what's the rule for new people taking leaves? So, instead of giving this same query to LLM, you give it like, what is the paid vacation policy for newly hired employees? Right, so you pass this original query to LLM and LLM reformulates it in this way so that it's able to fetch more relevant documents or optimize the retrieval. Okay. Next query transformation strategy is HIDE, which is hypothetical documentation embedding. And what it really does is when you pass the query to the LLM will create a hypothetical answer to it and embed that answer along with the query and then do the retrieval. So how it's beneficial is because the answer that it embeds is much more closer to the chunks that are there in vector databases, right? So it becomes more efficient in retrieving the chunks which are more relevant to you. So, for example, if you are asking, can interns work remotely? So it will pass this to a LLM, which will create a hypothetical answer saying that interns are allowed to work remotely under the company, etc., etc., and then pass both of these things to the retrieval stage so that it can perform much more optimized retrieval. Okay, coming to the next query transformation strategy, which is step back prompting. Step back prompting is when you are asking an LLM about something very specific, or you have some very specific details provided to the LLM. Sometimes you might miss on the broader context, and that is what step back prompting does. So step back prompting will actually go to the LLM and ask the LLM to write the broader context around that query. So, for example, if I have like, why is my rack system retrieving irrelevant chunks? This will be passed to the LLM, and the LLM will say, also combine it with what factors affect retrieval quality in rack systems so that we're not missing the much broader context. So now we'll come to the retrieval strategies. So there are again a lot of retrieval strategies. The ones that I'll be discussing in this video are these two. So let's start with the fusion retrieval or hybrid search retrieval strategy, which is a very popular one, wherein you are not only performing semantic search over the vector stores, but you're also performing keyword based search, which is why it's called hybrid search. And the semantic search is basically called the dense retrieval, and the keyword based search is called the sparse retrieval. So let's take a look at an example to understand this. So if there is a query like, how do I fix the HTTP 500 error? So dense retrieval, which is basically the semantic search that we do in vector stores retrieval, would actually retrieve like docs on troubleshooting, some very general docs on fixing HTTP errors, etc. Whereas the sparse retrieval would actually go and find exact 500 HTTP error documentation. This is very powerful because it combines both the approaches, so it's actually able to get most relevant documents. Next retrieval strategy is hierarchical indices. What this is about is when you have like lots and lots of documents and you want to perform search on them. So this strategy suggests that instead of performing the search on entire documents, it's better that you create indices for the summaries of each of these documents first, and then perform the search on those summaries first, and then filter out the summaries which are not relevant and only take the ones that are relevant, and then search only in those chunks. For example, if I ask a question like, what is the remote work policy for engineers in Germany? And let's say we have indexes in vector store for all the documents with the with their summaries. So there's a doc A German policies, uh, doc B US policies, doc C India policies, and then it will, at first level, it will choose the German policies, and then we will perform search on the chunks that are only related or only present in this doc, because it does searching at different levels instead of searching the entire documents or all of these documents. That is why it's known as hierarchical indices. Okay. After the retrieval is done, then we come to the post retrieval stage, and how we optimize in the post retrieval is by doing re ranking, filtering, context compression, and deduplication. So let's take a look at re ranking. So if you have a query like, how do I fix HTTP 500 error? And suppose it returns you 3 to 4 chunks like server timeout issues, chunk 2 is HTTP 500, and chunk 3 is API debugging checklist. Then what re-ranking will do is it will re-rank it in the order which is most relevant to your query. So chunk 2 will come at the first stage, right? What is filtering is, in the same question, if you see there is a chunk which says front end styling issue, this particular chunk is basically not relevant to the actual query that is being made. So in the filtering step, that chunk will be removed, and that is what filtering helps with. Next strategy is context compression. So sometimes in retrieval stage, what happens is that you'll get a lot of information in the chunks which probably is not relevant or is not needed. So in context compression, it will take out the most relevant information from those chunks and only put that. So, for example, how do I fix HTTP 500 error? And it gives lot of information. So instead of putting everything, it will just try to put the most relevant information that is needed for the user. So it will say check server logs, restart backend service, and etc. etc. So this is what is context compression. So it is needed so that your context window is not overloaded or overflooded with tokens. Next is deduplication. So again, after the retrieval, you might get a lot of chunks which are basically repeating the same information. So instead of passing all the repeated information in the context window, it will take just the relevant or the information that is repeated once and put it in the context and remove all the unnecessary or repeated context from the context window. So after all the post retrieval optimizations are done, the context is combined with the original prompt and feed it to the LLMs to get the final accurate, appropriate responses from the LLMs. Okay. So now let's move on to modular RAG. So modular RAG, as the name suggests, has modules. It has created modules for all of these steps that we saw here in advanced RAG so that they can be developed independently and optimized independently. And then you can choose which one to place where. So there is no definite RAG pipeline like in advanced RAG or naive RAG has. There's no such fixed pipeline, but there are different modules which you can think of like Lego pieces, which you can place anywhere per your requirement in to form a ideal pipeline which gives you optimal response or optimal retrieval from RAG. It provides with different modules. For example, so there is indexing module which has sub modules like chunking, embedding, and each of these modules can be developed independently. You can optimize chunking process, you can optimize embedding process by choosing the right model. Same goes with pre-retrieval module. It has query transformation module, submodule. It has query decomposition submodule. It can have many other modules. You can again develop it independently, combine it, put it in this, or remove from this. It's all up to you based on your use case. Same with retrieval module, post retrieval module, and everything else. So modular RAG is basically putting everything that can be optimized in the RAG pipeline into different modules, so that you can optimize RAG retrieval, augmentation part, and the generation part. So just to sum up, we took a look at a quick recap from naive RAG, then we went to the problems of naive RAG, and then we understood how advanced RAG is solving all the problems that exist in naive RAG at each level, like in the pre-retrieval, retrieval, and post-retrieval. Again, there are a lot many strategies on how query transformation can be done, on how retrieval can be optimized, and how post-retrieval can be optimized. You can take a look at those on the internet. Then we learned about modular RAG, which converts all of these things into modules so that they can be built independently and plugged in per your use case wherever you want to plug it in. And they have like sub modules which can be built and optimized independently. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section. And if you learned something from this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.